I, like many other people, absolutely love Harry Potter, and that's why I was initially pretty excited to hear that they were doing this show. They were going to be able to expand upon the books in a way that the movies didn't, but unfortunately, we know that they're straying from source material. Not that that's shocking from HBO, given they did that same thing with The Last of Us and also Game of Thrones, but unfortunately, we know that they've made some really questionable casting decisions that have faced major backlash. And now, of course, we have Harry Potter film actors coming out and calling critics of this decision racist. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, obviously, yes, we knew that this series in some way, shape, or form was going to face major backlash just because of J.K. Rowling. There are people who believe J.K. Rowling is like scum of the earth and she's a god-awful person, and that you need to boycott anything that has her affiliated in any way, shape, or form. And there are individuals who think that just Harry Potter in general shouldn't be popular anymore because of JK, but there are also people who have so much love and nostalgia for her creation that they cannot fathom the idea of ignoring it because maybe they grew up loving it or they found a love for it in adulthood. Regardless, though, we knew that this was going to be a pretty controversial series no matter what they did, and they decided to stir up extra controversy with race swaps. I do not think that that is ever a really good decision, especially when you need as many people to be supporting you as possible, given this is going to be an extremely expensive series to make. But the backlash to HBO's upcoming Harry Potter reboot Snape casting just got even more heated because now you've got actors dividing the fan base, and I think that we always expected this to happen because it's not shocking to have actors from another iteration giving their opinion and backing it. And that means that you are inevitably going to have people who are not going to back it or who are going to say, this is so stunning and brave because they're being paid. It wouldn't shock me if, they actually tried to get the big three behind this. But of course, those people hate JK, so they have to kind of go to the next best category of actors, which would be individuals like Jason Isaac, someone who is pretty well known within Hollywood and that is pretty recognizable. So Jason Isaacs, best known for playing Lucius Malfoy in the original film series, is now publicly attacking fans who have voiced criticism over the casting of Papa Isedu as Severus Snape. Speaking at Fan Expo Denver, he didn't hold back, accusing online commentators of prejudice and declaring Isedu one of the best actors I've ever seen in my life. And maybe he is a phenomenal actor, but that doesn't mean that he fits the book description. And when they've claimed, oh, we're so glad that we are able to do this series because it's going to be more accurate to the books because they can expand more upon storylines and characters, it really doesn't make sense why they would do this other than they are trying to meet a diversity quota. And all different sorts of people should be able to get hired in Hollywood no matter how you look or how you talk, but Severus Snape was described in a very specific way, and that should have been respected in this adaptation. We're not racists for criticizing this. We simply care about accuracy to the source material. What the hell is the point to make this other than money if you're not actually going to try to make it as close to the books as possible? And of course, then you have an actor like this who comes out and just stirs the pot even more. It's not about, hey, listen, maybe you're viewing this from a wrong perspective and you should at least give him a chance. No, it's you're just a fucking racist if you criticize this, which is terrible. I've seen some people online who are being rude about him. What they're being is racist. Isedu, a black British actor known for roles in I May Destroy You and Black Mirror, was cast earlier this year to play the complicated potions master, a role originally immortalized by the late Alan Rickman. I also think a problem is that there's no actor who can come close to Rickman's performance. And that was going to be an issue no matter who they cast. Even if they cast Adam Driver, who was a fan favorite, even if he did a great job, he still probably would have faced criticism, and there would inevitably be people who said, oh, you're just not as good as Rickman, because Alan Rickman was a phenomenal actor. So even race aside, right, and even skin color aside and inaccuracies aside, ultimately, whoever was cast was going to face backlash. It's like they were setting this actor up for failure. The criticism has little to do with performance. Yeah, I mean, again, maybe he really is just a phenomenal actor and he's going to do a great job. And race swaps do not matter as much to me as gender swaps, because you can have actors whose skin color is different that can still capture the essence of a character and do a really good job, where gender swaps, you have to completely change everything about a character because, their gender is usually a pretty big part of their story, but that still doesn't mean it's an open invitation for race swaps. It still isn't, in my opinion, the road you should go down. I mean, maybe he really was the best performance that they saw, and maybe he really will give the performance of a lifetime. But even so, it's very questionable why they chose him. Rather, fans have raised serious concerns that reimagining Snape as a black man undermines key aspects of his story, in particular Snape's history as an outcast bullied by James Potter and his friends takes on different implications when race is added to the equation, which is definitely a major problem. Are they really going to push racism in this? Because, of course, the kids don't feel comfortable around him, and Harry always is questioning Snape's intentions, and James Potter had ended up bullying Snape. There's just too many red flags, and Snape is also described very specifically in the books several times as being pale and sallow. This isn't the first time a major Harry Potter character has been race swapped, though. We all expected Hermione to be affected the most in this adaptation, I think, but she wasn't. I think that the actress they chose looks like she probably could play the character just fine. But a similar controversy erupted when Hermione Granger was played by a black actress in the stage production Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. In both cases, those questioning the creative liberties were quickly labeled as prejudiced, despite many articulating their objections through the lens of narrative continuity and character dynamics. See, the problem is that the people in Hollywood who are making these casting decisions are only looking through the lens of race, when fans are not the ones who are doing that. We are looking at it from storytelling and continuity lenses, but they say we're racist and they're acting like all we're caring about is the skin color, because that's all that they cared about in the first place when they cast him. I mean, clearly it's just projecting. And still, Isaacs dismissed all criticism of this casting as being rooted in bigotry. All the cast of the new Harry Potter TV series are amazing. They will be swallowing their tongues. Hopefully, their digital tongues when they see what Papa does on screen. He added during the panel, HBO's new adaptation promised to be a more faithful version of Rowling's original novels, and of course, the lie detector has determined that that is a lie. Maybe this will still come out and maybe it will still be phenomenal. Maybe his casting will prove us all wrong, but it's just very hard to trust anybody in Hollywood at this point. And when an actor comes out and calls us a racist for criticizing a casting decision, really it only makes him look even worse. He's a good actor, but at the same time, you're not going to gain any respect from me or anybody else for defending a fellow actor when there is legitimacy behind our arguments. I'm not saying he shouldn't be cast in anything. It just doesn't seem like he's the best choice for Snape, given the way that Rowling ended up describing this character. So we'll have to see what happens with this Harry Potter HBO series. HBO does not have a good track record when it comes to faithful adaptations, given what happened with The Last of Us and what happened with Game of Thrones and even House of the Dragon. And I don't really think that Harry Potter's going to be any different. So I'll be keeping my eye on this. I am still cautiously optimistic. Of course, one or two questionable castings doesn't necessarily mean this entire thing is going to be ruined, but it would be extremely hard for them to ignore his race in the show via the narrative, and that's why I and many other people are raising so many red flags at this point. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.